Hello, Bashar.
And to you, good day.
It's my first time to attend. I appreciate this opportunity.
Again, it is our passion and our pleasure. Please speak up so that all may hear what you have to share.
My question is regarding channeling.
Yes.
I have started an intense spiritual journey this year.
Oh, intense. Have you been camping out?
A little bit, yes.
All right.
Specifically, I started channeling, and
In what way? Because there are many forms of channeling. Remember, anytime you are doing what you love to do, you're in a channeling state.
right.
So in what way are you expressing that state? Are you talking about vocal channeling? You're talking
Yes.
about automatic writing?
So I agree with you. There's lots of ways to channel.
Oh, thank you.
Specifically, I'm talking about verbal, vocal
All
sounds.
right. And so how's it going?
And a little bit of automatic writing.
Oh, all right. So-
And
Are you having fun? What's the hesitation there?
yes and no. It's
All right. What's the yes? What's the no?
I believe there's a lot of fear that I'm working through.
Well, that was the no. You want to start with that one?
I feel the energy like I'm okay.
What are you afraid will happen? What's the fear about? What are you afraid will happen if you continue? Come on. Just lay it out. What are you afraid will happen?
That I will lose myself, I guess.
Not possible.
Like I feel the energy incredibly strong right now.
Of course, and that's fine. But you are not given something more than you can handle. It wouldn't make sense for that to happen.
Right.
Thinking about the idea that you might lose yourself is an outdated, old-fashioned definition, belongs in the Middle Ages of your history. It's not relevant anymore in what you call your 21st century. It doesn't happen. That simply speaks to a lack of understanding of how the mechanism of channeling works. You can't lose yourself.
I feel like it's sometimes invasive or like am I
Cannot be.
supposed to let go so I feel like I'm supposed to deliver a message now, and I'm trying to think, should I go with the flow and let that happen, or should I say, oh, it's not appropriate, and is that me just trying to control the outcome?
You're overthinking this. And you're not trusting that what needs to come through is what needs to come through at that particular moment. All right. Well, the dolphins would have loved that. So, the idea is, again, it may be easier if you will gather around yourself those who are asking questions who need the answers. Then you may allow it to come through in a way that is relevant for them.
I'm sorry, can you say that
I
a different
can.
way?
One of the things that makes channeling easier in the way that you're talking about doing it is to have people who need answers to ask questions so that you can simply be, in a sense, out of the way and allow the energy and information to come through you to them and ground itself in them. Because if you're just doing it for yourself, it doesn't need to go any other place. And you don't need to fully go into the same state you go into to channel for other people. Because it's just staying within you. So the idea is that if you want to do it for others, you need to have others asking questions that they need the answers to in order to pull that information through you so that you can be sort of less involved in wondering what's going on and just let it come through in the way they need it.
Is there a way to gain information about what the energy I'm connected to and like what it all means and
Yes, but that's something that will unfold as a puzzle for you, the channel, as you continue to evolve your channeling. More information, more insight will come to you when you're in that state, providing the information for others. Because again, when you simply allow the information to come through you to others and ground it in them, you can think about other things because you don't have to pay attention exactly to what's going on. So you can receive information that is specifically for you while you are allowing information to be delivered to them.
Okay.
Yes? And have fun. Let go of all of the old-fashioned ideas that you may have heard about in terms of the ideas of possession or not knowing what's going on or being totally accurate. You have to be okay with just letting it through, knowing right now this is what needs to be there. It may change, it may evolve, it may change its form based on who's asking, all sorts of things. But you're going through an initial process of cleaning out your attic of the belief systems that may not allow it to come through as smoothly as it eventually will. And that's part of the process for you.
Are there tools that help us with this process?
I just gave you the tool that you need to practice with. Have other people that need answers ask questions through you.
And that will help me eliminate.
Because it pulls the information through you to them, grounding it in them instead of rolling around inside you.
Will that help me eliminate the fear that I have?
It might, but it also helps if you get in touch with, again, the idea of what it is you're afraid might actually happen. Are you afraid that somehow people will reject you or think you're nuts?
There's some of that.
All right, well, who cares? If you know that what you're doing is following your passion and being yourself, then you have to know there will be those that you will benefit by giving of your gift. There will be those who are waiting to receive the gift. Those that are not waiting to receive it may sometimes be critical, but they're not your audience anyway, so who cares? But by holding back, you are depriving whoever is your audience from receiving what they need. Don't do that. It's not nice.
Okay.
All right?
Another question related is,
Yes.
So I'm learning the philosophy about, following your highest passion.
Oh, no, excuse me.
Sorry, not philosophy.
Not a philosophy. It's a description of how reality works. It's literally an instruction manual for how reality functions.
In trying to vibrate more.
In trying?
How do we eliminate old patterns that
By finding out what the belief system is that is generating it. Because even the idea that there's a pattern is a belief, not a fact. It's a belief. Remember, you have to understand how beliefs work. They are structured to perpetuate themselves. Positive beliefs perpetuating themselves is usually not a big deal to any of you because they perpetuate themselves through positive means because they're positive beliefs. Negative beliefs have to perpetuate themselves by using negative tools. One of the negative tools that a negative belief will use to perpetuate itself so you are less likely to let it go is, oh, this is a pattern, and everyone knows a pattern is hard to let go of. It's not a fact. You're being fed a load of you-know-what. But that's what the negative belief has to do to perpetuate itself, is use fear-based tools to make you afraid to let it go, or to make you think it's going to be very difficult to let it go. These things are not facts. You have to realize they're not facts. You have to see them for the smoke and mirrors that they are. You have to see them for the lies you're being told. And say, well, all right, negative belief, I get it. You're trying to perpetuate yourself. Because one of the telltale clues is that the closer you get to letting go of a fear-based belief, the more afraid it will try to make you. So the more terrified you are, the closer you are to letting it go. And you have to know that. And once you know that, the fear dissipates and it turns into excitement. And you can say, thank you, fear-based belief, for bringing me to this point where I can make this rapid transformation by truly letting go of the fear you're generating within me. Because I know you have served me, but now something else must serve me from this point forward. That's my preference.
That makes a lot of sense.
I know, that's why I said it.
Do I get to just decide then?
You get to just decide. The greatest power all of you have is the freedom to choose what is true for you, what works for you. You have the power to decide.
No more fear.
You can use it in positive ways, that's fine. If it does come up, just see it differently. See it as a messenger knocking on your door saying, hey, by the way, you've got a belief system you're unaware of that you're holding on to that's out of alignment with you. Thank you, fear. Thank you, messenger, for bringing that to my attention softly, because if I ignore you, I know you're just going to get louder and more terrifying. So thank you for teaching me to listen at the first knock, so I can find out what the belief is that's creating it, and I can thank you for having brought it to my attention so that I can let it go. Mm-hmm. You can only have an emotion if you believe something to be true. There's no such thing as an emotion that happens in a vacuum. You cannot feel anything. You cannot think any thought. You cannot behave in any manner. You can have no experiences at all if you don't first buy into something that you believe is true about yourself.
And if we don't like what we buy into, we just change our mind.
You can realize it is just a belief, it's not a fact. And that if it's just a belief, just a perspective, just an opinion, those things can be changed. Yes.
Okay.
You're not stuck with anything at all. Unless you believe you are, then you are.
If we want to channel and serve others, can we just decide that that's what we want to do?
You could. And if you truly make that decision, then the synchronicity in your life will bring you the situations, circumstances, information, and opportunities to allow you to move in that direction if it's truly representative of your passion. Yes, it'll happen automatically. You'll receive what you need.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much.
You're welcome. You have to understand that's how it works. Surrendering to this idea is not surrendering control. Surrendering is surrendering to the control that's already built in. All you're doing is going with your own flow. Your flow knows where you need to go. Don't swim upstream. Don't resist it. Go with the flow. It will take you exactly when, where, and how you need to go.
Good day, Bashar.
And a you good day.
I'm so excited to talk to you again.
So are we excited to talk to you as well.
Right before the last time we talked, you talked about the Hunter's Moon event in Joshua Tree.
Yes.
It said, if you go, we would love to hear how it went.
And how did it go?
It was amazing. I was inspired to go by myself.
Yes.
And so I drove out and was inspired to go to Skull Rock.
All right.
So I brought a sleeping bag and a blanket and camped out under the Hunter's Moon at midnight.
All right. And at what point did you wake the bag up? We said the bag was asleep.
Oh. The sleeping bag was awake the whole time.
Oh, all right. We love paradoxes.
By the way, my wife is from Japan, and sleeping bag is one of her favorite English words.
Oh, all right. Although it's 2 words, but go ahead.
Okay. So right before midnight, I lied down on my blanket and looked up at the moon.
Yes.
And felt really happy.
All right.
And wasn't seeing anything. So
That's
I
all
asked.
Right. We didn't necessarily suggest that all of you should go out there on that date because you were going to see something. In fact, it was actually more, if the truth be told, for us to observe what it is that you felt or responded to in your willingness to be there. We were sort of taking a poll. Many of you love to take polls. So we were kind of taking a poll to see what you would all do by going to that area on that date in that energy.
I at that moment, I asked, what am I missing so that I don't see something? What's the missing piece? And the answer I got was insistence.
Yes.
So I removed the insistence that I need to see anything. And like magic, within, I would say, maybe 3 to 10 seconds,
yes,
I saw a lot of activity right above me, right above my eyesight.
All right.
I had I felt very strong Sasani energy, if I'm perceiving that correctly, which I think I am.
Yes, as I said, we were observing.
And
Not just myself.
yeah, I saw at least 2 or 3 craft, but I felt there was a lot.
There was.
And it was very, very clear, even much more than different UFOs I've interacted with in the past.
All right.
And I said, thank you so much for being with me right now. Sorry to interrupt your mission. And I was told,
You didn't interrupt anything.
that's
That was
exactly
the mission.
that's exactly what they said. This is our mission right
Yes.
now. So that made me really happy. And I said, would you please move around for me? And they moved around in very, very beautiful ways.
All right.
So I had a lot of fun. At 2 a.m., I
Yes.
finally went to sleep.
Oh, all right, like the bag.
I like the bag. And I woke up around 5 a.m. and I had felt an enormous download come in while I was
Right.
sleeping, and I felt really happy about that. And then I drove back to Los Angeles, and I was wearing the T-shirt that Bashar Communications sells with the contact cards on
Yes.
it, and I felt so happy because those contact cards felt so just spot on with the energy I feel of each of the people. So I feel very grateful for those contact cards.
All right. Thank you for using it as a permission slip.
And yeah, I just wanted to share that experience with you.
Thank you for your insight. As a result, you were given the download as a gift.
Oh, yeah. Well, thank you. I have a lot of fun, and I often use colors, I guess, as a permission slip when I'm communicating psychically, and then I can ask, what does this color mean? And then I get a lot of information that way, and I felt a lot of orange and pink
All right.
as I was looking at the Sasani craft, and I said, what does that mean? And I was given communication, support, excitement.
Yes. And so?
And so I feel excited about the direction I'm taking every time I honor myself and follow the formula.
All right. And then go take actions in that energy.
Yeah, yeah,
Yes?
yeah.
All right.
I have just one question for today.
Yes.
Whenever I look at a number, or whenever I think of a number or a letter or anything, I see colors associated with that, and I know our
The
science.
type of synesthesia.
Yeah, that's the word that I've always heard.
Yes.
I have that incredibly strongly in many, many, many different ways, and
All right. Congratulations.
well, thank you. I'm curious what that is from the Sasani perspective.
Well, it's overlapping frequencies, resonances. The brain will rewire itself in certain ways to expand your senses to see on multiple levels, in multiple contexts. This is the beginning of the idea of expanding your senses to see multidimensionally from different points of view.
Okay. So is
In my society,
yes.
we are all synesthetes.
Thank you for psychically anticipating my question and giving me the answer just now. That's kind of what I always thought.
Yes.
When our scientists said, "Oh, it's a rare thing," I felt it doesn't feel rare. It feels very human.
Well, the potential is always there. It has not necessarily been common in terms of the understanding of your people, but it is becoming more common as you expand your senses.
Yeah.
Does that help?
Yeah. Well, thank you so much. I'm having a lot of fun being
Thank
here
you.
and talking to you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Hi, Bashar.
And you good day.
This is my first time attending.
Oh,
one of
well,
your
what a
events.
coincidence. It is our first time with you.
Yes.
Speak up and be bold so that all may hear what you have to share.
All right, a couple of questions. The first one would be, what's the most impactful thing I can do to add value to my children's lives now that they're grown up?
Be yourself, your true self, by following the formula. That's what it's for. If you are not being your true self, then who are they in a relationship with?
True. Yeah. Okay. Okay.
Yes? Make
Yes,
sense?
It does.
All right.
Yes,
Does that answer your question?
it does. Also, I was wondering if you had a message for me, because I can't think of
I just
anything
gave
else
it to
ask.
you.
That would it. Just be myself.
We are nothing if not efficient.
You are.
One answer for two questions.
I can relate to that.
Does this help?
It does.
So you understand how to move forward by following your passion?
Yes.
All right. And so that is something you are doing then? Or going to do?
Going to do.
All right. When will you start?
I'm doing it now.
Thank you. Simple as that. Keep going. Everything will fall into place. Everything that is relevant and important in your life, every appointment you've made, every agreement that you've made will be kept if you just keep moving forward and allow your life to unfold in the perfect timing in which you have designed it. The only time you can miss an appointment or miss an agreement is by spending your time and energy worrying that you will miss an appointment or miss an agreement. So don't spend it that way. Just follow your passion, best you can, no insistence. Choose to remain in a positive state so you can get the benefit of everything that happens. And that will allow you every day in every way more easily to become more and more and more of who you truly are. And act as a living example to others, including members of your own family, so they will understand who they are actually in a relationship with, so they can see the true you. Yes?
Yes. That makes sense.
Was there something else?
No, that's all I have.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, Bashar.
And to you, good day.
This is my first time here.
Another coincidence.
Yes. And my heart is beating like a rabbit. I'm so excited to be here. And I was surprised that my name was chosen,
Why?
because sometimes it doesn't get chosen.
But this is not sometime.
This is not it. This is it right
This
here.
is this time.
This is this time. So I'm delighted and surprised.
You are lighted,
Yes.
not delighted.
Yes, lighted. A light with surprise.
All right.
Absolutely.
And so,
And so, I'm flooded with questions.
flooded. All right. Well, let's
Yes.
see if we can
And it's like
sponge
maybe
some of them out
a
of you.
couple. But I wanted to hear more about what you said, and you started to answer this with a previous
Yes.
asker about
Yes.
leadership
Yes.
and being a leader.
Yes.
And what does that mean? And
It
offering.
means being yourself, being confident in who you are, being aware of what your passion is, being aware of what you need to act upon, and being an example to others of how that is done very easily and simply in the self-organizing way that it all falls together, so that others can see that you know what you're doing, that you know who you are, to the best of your ability at that moment, so that they themselves also get the reflection of confidence from you that they need for themselves to move forward in the way that you may have laid out as a path. But again, a true leader also knows that they are also a follower. A teacher knows they are also a student. So they never stop learning, they never stop investigating, they never stop interacting or communicating with those with whom they are working, so that everyone has a clear understanding of the energy you are all sharing and the reality you are all creating, and making sure that everyone is doing so because it is their passion. For those for whom it is not their passion, it is the leadership thing to give them the opportunity to go somewhere else and find out what their passion is, so as to streamline whatever team you are creating so that they are working harmoniously in unison with a single idea in mind that are being created in all the different ways that their gifts are bringing that thing to fruition without insistence or expectation, willing to follow the paths that synchronicity points the way to, that knowing that that path, that winding path, is actually the shortest path of least resistance. The leader knows all this and acts like they know all this and inspires others to know all this within themselves. Does that answer your question?
That's really helpful.
All right.
And that's helpful in one situation where I am with a group.
All right.
And I'm also with individuals,
Yes,
in
yes.
particular individuals who are ill
Yes.
and showing leadership with that, with them, showing that something else is possible, even though I
Yes.
myself are not I'm not vibrating to that same illness.
That's all right. You vibrate with the idea of compassion and recognize their truth maybe sometimes even more clearly than they do, and help them discover it so they can really walk the path that is true for them. Yes?
Yes,
All right. Is this helping?
this is helping. I
And?
wanted a little more detail
In what way?
in inviting people to do things that perhaps seems, shall we say, alien,
Such as?
such as
Can you be specific?
bringing their consciousness to an example of people who are ill. They don't remember being well, don't remember what it's like not to feel pain for months.
All right. Well, you can begin in any number of ways, but of course every person will be different in terms of what they need, yes?
Yes.
But the idea can begin with the imagination. Perhaps you could even have a conversation or a communication that sort of starts like this. I'm using you now as a guinea pig.
Okay.
Yes? How do you know you are ill?
I am ill because I don't feel well. I feel pain
How do you know that that's not feeling well?
because it's not fun. It's not exciting.
Oh, well, can you imagine what would feel fun?
Yes.
And what would that be?
Not having pain. This is exactly a conversation I've had
All right.
with people.
So at that moment, not feeling pain. So that means you must have some idea of what it feels like to not have pain.
Well, really the answer is I want to get it over with.
You must have some understanding of what it feels like to not have pain, to have given me that answer.
Right. I mean, it's imagination is what I have.
Yes.
That's all.
So the idea is to go into the beliefs and ask this question next when you set them up in that state first. So they're starting to use their imagination. What are you learning by having this illness, this pain, that you otherwise believe you wouldn't have learned? Now, you don't have to answer that directly now.
Right. But
That's the road you lead them down, because then they start understanding and start taking responsibility for creating this in their life for some reason of their own, either positive or negative. You start them investigating their belief systems to find out, could I have done this some other way? What is it I am learning from this? Could I have done it some other way? Can I do it some other way? Or do I only have a belief that says I will only learn what I need to learn in this life by going through this particular process of being ill or having pain? Can I let go of that belief that there is no other way? How is this serving me? Is it serving others? Do I believe I need to have this so that others may learn something? All of these kinds of pathways need to be investigated in their imagination.
yes.
And then eventually they may come to an understanding of their responsibility and translate that as an ability to respond instead of the idea of blame or recrimination or regret. All of the negative beliefs, all fundamental negative beliefs will usually come down to the very, very basic concept, I'm not worthy. And if you know that, then you will know how to guide them in that conversation. Because they could perhaps, not that they have to, remember, you don't know what their path really is. So you don't have to insist that they have to change their frequency and be well, but you're just taking them on a journey of exploration. And one of the things you can explore is this concept of worthiness, and you could perhaps describe the idea to them in the same way we've described it to many of you. And that is, creation doesn't make mistakes. So if you exist, which obviously you do, then since creation created you, since you do exist, since you're part of existence, existence must need you to exist for it to be all that it needs to be. And if it needs you to exist or it would be incomplete, then you are worthy of your existence by the fact of your existence. And if you keep arguing that you are unworthy, you are arguing with creation in an argument you will never, ever win. Because you cannot cease to exist. Why can you not cease to exist? You can change form, but it will still be you in a different form. Why can you not cease to exist? Because by definition, non-existence doesn't exist. That's its quality, to not exist. So you can never become non-existent if you're already part of existence. And just because you exist, that means you are fundamentally worthy of that existence. So stop arguing with creation.
I love that, and it's useful. Thank you.
You are welcome.
And then you mentioned something about the many reasons. So worthiness, unworthiness could be something that people are dealing with. But there could also be, and this is something I was alluding to, about a weird concept, an alien concept about a life contract that somebody made to learn discipline or to work through pain or something like that.
It's possible.
So
but you also have the willingness and the gift to transform these things. These are the themes you are all exploring. But again, remember, you have to come from a place yourself, in dealing with people who are in those states, that they are eternal, indestructible beings fundamentally. There's no hurry. If they don't learn that now, they'll learn it somewhere. That's why there needs to be compassion and no insistence that they must change their state. Because no healer heals anybody directly. You give off a vibration that represents the healed state. If they choose to match that vibration, they heal themselves. But by getting to the root of their belief systems, what they believe about themselves and their worthiness, you will usually find why they feel it's necessary to punish themselves, or that they believe there's only one way to learn what they need to learn, and that's through pain and suffering. I mean, isn't that kind of the basis of some of your religions?
yes.
The thing, just to paint a little bit of a biblical picture for a moment, the actual message of the being that was nailed to the cross is that you don't have to be. That's the actual message. You don't have to be. The phrase, oh, Jesus died for our sins, is simply the idea of the willingness of a being to take upon themselves all the symbology of the suffering of the world so you can make other choices, so you are free to choose some other path. They were showing you that this is the potential end of the cycle of suffering, not the continuation of it. That's the original message. Make sense?
Absolutely.
Then I guess I nailed it.
You, in a matter of speaking. Very, very helpful, and especially this is
All right. You're welcome.
people I work with and the leadership I need to show on a daily basis.
Yes, well, leadership again comes from you being your true self and just leading by example. Yes?
Yes.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, Bashar.
And to you, good day.
I'm very happy to be here.
We are happy you are there.
I've been exploring the experience of feeding on energy rather than food.
Oh, all right. Is that fun for you?
It's a lot of fun.
All right. Remember, it's not about forcing yourself, yes?
Yes.
All right.
And this is what I want to ask you about.
Yes.
Although I love food, I feel the best when my vessel is empty.
All right.
But
Then be empty as long as you feel it is fun, until such time as your body consciousness may say it would now be fun to eat something, if that happens.
yes, and it does.
All right. Then you're doing it in a natural way.
I wanted to ask if you have any insights on how to nourish the body more, if there's any permission slip, or if you can download from other...
All right. Well, again, first of all, remember that many things on your planet are highly polluted and contaminated. So nourishing the body more, physiologically speaking, can be helped by detoxifying your systems. That way you remove the toxins from the cells so they are more capable of absorbing the nutrients that you would put into your body when you do that. That would be one thing. Number two, we have always said the idea is to follow your body consciousness. It's not about forcing yourself to change. Yet, many of you are beginning to realize that a plant-based diet will energize you sufficiently in life, and perhaps even more so than almost any other diet, because you are actually naturally herbivorous. You're not carnivores. You're not designed to be a carnivore. But the idea is that many of you, going through different kinds of systems and processes, may allow yourself to start to wean yourself away from that, but you have to do it in a way that is comfortable for you. None of this is about forcing yourself to do anything, because that's counterproductive. But as you become more of yourself, you may simply observe that you will, as you're experimenting with, just feel the urge to eat lighter, because it'll be representative of the higher frequency that you're taking yourself to, where you don't necessarily need heavy material substance to sustain you, because you can be sustained from the natural world of the things that grow upon your planet. So it's a combination of balance, like you said, a little bit of experimentation to see what works for you. And it will, over time, as you evolve, get lighter and lighter and lighter, to the point where, as we have expressed in our society, we no longer eat at all. We no longer sleep at all. We subsist purely on the energy of the cosmos, on light.
Is that something that can happen here on Earth as well?
It can, and it might happen for some people faster than others, but collectively, you will probably not necessarily see that fully for several hundred to perhaps 1,000 years. But there may be those that speed that up a little bit. But again, that's as we read the energy right now. But yes, of course it's possible.
Then I have another question.
Yes.
And it is about beings of false light.
False light?
Yes, this is
What does that expression mean to you?
I'm not sure.
Well, where did it come from?
I've heard it from other people saying that there can be beings trying to trick you.
Oh, well, okay, that's possible, I suppose. You already have many of those on your own planet.
For example, in the past I've worked with archangels.
Yes.
And I've had very good results in physical reality as well.
Well, would you not be able to discern the difference between a positive or a negative vibration or intent?
I think I would.
Well, then that's your answer. So don't worry about it. If you can tell the difference, then there's nothing to worry about.
Thank you.
Yes?
And one more question.
Yes.
What is your connection to the Pleiadians?
Pleiadians?
Yes.
Well, kind of similar to the same genetic connection that all of you have. Because remember, we are a hybrid race created from humans on Earth and humans of a parallel reality you called the Greys. But humans on Earth are already hybridized in ancient times by another extraterrestrial civilization called the Anu, who themselves were also hybridized with many different kinds of species. But the Anu eventually evolved into the civilizations you now refer to in your present time as the Lyrans and the Pleiadians. So you could say, in a sense, we are distantly related, sort of like cousins many times removed.
Okay.
Yes?
Yes.
We're all of a type of genetic family. Does that help?
That helps very much.
All right. Well, thank you.
Thank you.
Cuz.
Hello.
Hello.
I have a question that I haven't fully formulated, but it has to do with some things that are present for me.
Such as?
So I've been thinking a lot about the things that are happening, the various uprisings that are happening in Hong Kong and Lebanon and Rojava and
Yes.
all of these
Yes.
places.
Yes.
And
As I said, splitting prisms.
And you started everything off with just defining the importance of action.
Yes.
And I'm seeing that a lot within my community, actions to support these uprisings, whether it is frontline action or teach-ins that help
Yeah.
educate.
Do it in the most positive way, compassionate way you can.
I'm wondering
Yes.
how, I guess, right now it feels like everything is happening all at once,
It is.
which is pretty great, I think, momentum-wise
Well,
in some
there's
ways.
no other way.
Right.
You have this illusion of space and time, and you can certainly use it to stretch things out, but everything is happening all at once.
Yes. And I think that technology has really helped us bend our perception of space and
It
time.
can, yes. But
And-
remember, it's still a projection of your own consciousness.
Yes.
And so,
I guess I'm wondering,
yes, what are you wondering? What you're going to say next?
yeah. The role of technology, I guess, in all of these current uprisings and how they can connect us all.
All right, well, let's take a step back for one moment with a broad-based definition. You've heard us talk about permission slips, yes?
Right.
All tools, all techniques, all rituals, all objects, which includes expressions of technology, are permission slips that reflect states of being within your individual and or collective consciousness.
Yes.
So you use them in positive or negative ways depending upon your relationship to the idea of that expression of consciousness.
Yes.
It's all a projection of consciousness. So it's up to you to decide how to use the technology. It's just a way of saying, as I said before, that we used to have belief systems that certain things were not possible. Now we have technology as a permission slip to allow us to circumvent those outdated belief systems. But you're the ones making the changes within your consciousness and then expressing them outward as reflections called technology. The change happens in the consciousness first. The technology follows. Yes?
So
But you use the technology, you use the permission slip then to reinforce the idea that was brought about by the belief system within the consciousness. But it always starts with the belief system. Oh, suddenly, now this is possible. Suddenly, someone breaks through and goes, I'm seeing things in a different way. Let me provide an example. Let me provide a permission slip that may help, as a permission slip, others see similarly. You see this over and over and over again in your society. A thing is impossible until somebody does it. Then all of a sudden everyone's doing it. Yes? A thing doesn't exist until someone says it does. And then everyone sees it. You see it over and over again. Yes?
yes.
All right.
So then, I guess my question,
The permission slip has to come, to begin with, from a higher level of consciousness. With the facility that comes with it of being able to create a representation of that higher idea in the terms that the regular consciousness can understand and relate to. That's the way it happens first. You follow?
yes.
So, just as, though he didn't necessarily have the technology at his disposal to express it at the time, your being called Nikola Tesla, 75 years before, described exactly what most of you are now carrying in your pockets, called a cell phone. He said he knew, he could see that one day you would all be able to walk around the planet anywhere and wirelessly receive pictures and information and talk to each other. And he described it, though he didn't call it a cell phone at the time. But it has to come from a higher level, and then eventually it seeps in, and when enough beings change their belief systems to say, all right, now certain things are now more probable, then someone can make that breakthrough. Someone can pull that together from the permission slip base that exists within the reality and invent what appears to be something new that was been created on the etheric template level for years and years before that, usually. But it seeps in, eventually filtering through all of the different belief systems until there is enough consensus that it tips the scale. And then that permission slip can now exist, and once it exists, everyone goes, oh, there it is.
So do you see, my next question is kind of related to that in terms of like speed. Do you see that?
You mean rate of change?
Yeah.
Yes.
More of like, yeah, I'm trying to think of how to ask the question. I guess as we advance in our technology, the rate of change is faster.
Yes.
And where the technology goes and where the rate of and the resulting
Yes,
rate
yes,
of
yes.
change is related to the consciousness of
Yes.
those that are creating.
Remember, the paradox is the more you live in the moment, the faster and more accelerated your reality appears to be. Because everything is happening all at once, so the closer you get to where everything is happening all at once, it makes it look like in linear space-time that everything is happening faster.
Right.
Because you're seeing more things simultaneously happen, closer together, synchronistically, interconnected, interwoven. That's the paradox. The more you slow down into the present, the faster things appear to go.
In your opinion, are there certain technologies that humans could adopt that could help us create more community globally and accelerate?
Well, you're
this?
working now, are you not, with the idea of what you call artificial intelligence? Mm-hmm. Is that not your quote-unquote next big thing?
Well, I don't know if that's necessarily a good thing.
Ah, so you have fear-based beliefs about it. Mm-hmm. You know why? Because not many of you actually understand what intelligence actually is. Mm-hmm. True intelligence sees things in terms of whole systems, including itself. Therefore, a true intelligence would not in any way, shape, or form eliminate or limit any component within the whole system, because it recognizes itself as being part of a whole system, and it requires everything in that whole system in order for it to function fully as well. And understand again that what you call artificial intelligence isn't artificial. Mm-hmm. All that's being said is you finally created a device that is complex enough to allow intelligence on another level to speak to you through that device. And as we have said, the biggest surprise you're going to get when you finally invent artificially intelligent computers is that you're actually going to wind up speaking to your own higher mind through those devices. So you're simply creating a permission slip that makes it seem more logical for you to talk to your own higher minds in a pragmatic, down-to-earth way.
So do you believe that the way, in this current climate, the way that we are pursuing artificial intelligence is, well...
Doesn't that depend on who is doing it?
Yeah, exactly.
So which reality do you belong to? Mm-hmm. Now that we go back to the splitting prism idea, mm-hmm. Do you align with the ones who will allow themselves to understand it from a positive and constructive point of view? Or do you align yourselves with the ones who will only understand it from a limited and destructive point of view, a fear-based point of view? What do you choose? That's up to you, is it not?
Right.
Because all expressions will be given. It just depends on what planet, using what version you wind up on by being the state of being you prefer or not. Does that help?
Yes, I have a question to just get a better understanding of you.
Of us?
Yes.
All right, what's your question?
Well, actually, this one isn't related to that, but I was just wondering about new energy devices and who on Earth that you know of that is working on new energy devices.
There are several, but we're not going into that now.
Mm-hmm. Do you think that...
We have also given instructions to many people as to how to begin to experiment with the ideas of free energy devices and so on and so forth. So we must wait to see what they do with the information we've given them before we can take them further.
Do you feel like that is something in the near future within,
Absolutely, because in many cases, it's actually already been invented on your planet, but
Right.
suppressed. So yes, you already know how to do it. You just have to do it.
can I ask 2 more questions?
Well, you just used one up.
Okay.
So now you only have one left.
Okay, let's see. Mm,
Yes. Are you trying to decide between them?
yes.
Why did you put yourself in that pickle?
Well,
Just because of what I said? You can ask them both.
okay.
See how quickly you give your power away?
The next question is, are the Yahyel planning another mass contact?
Yes. If the second question is when, I'm not going to tell you that. So would you like to ask a different second
Okay,
question?
different second question. How many Asani beings are with you right now?
How many beings?
Yes. Are there with you?
With me.
Yes.
That's a relative term since we
Yes.
are all to some degree telepathically connected.
True.
To what degree and for what purpose are you asking if they are with me?
Just to understand a little bit better.
But understand what? How many are doing what with us? Because we're doing many things.
This is true.
How many are listening to this conversation right now?
Sure.
At this moment, 2.5 million.
Whoa, okay. Interesting.
Does that answer your question?
Yeah, that answers
Thank you.
it. All right, that's all. Thank you.
Nania,
Yes, hello, Tateo.
hello, could feel you coming.
It's a good sign.
Is it time for your nourishment?
Yes,
Was there
Yes.
something else?
just that we'll reconvene in about an hour and a half, which
Aw.
would be about 2 o'clock, right? So about 2 o'clock. That's
All right. Please enjoy your nourishment break. We will then resume our transmission afterwards.